Hi, Ross. Did you find the big red button I told you about?
Hi, how are you? Hi, Jane.
Hi, Ross.
Ross sent me an email or something saying, how do I get on this call? Where do I find the meeting link? And I said,
It was pretty easy.
Big
I
red button that
You
says
just
click
click the red
meeting
button.
link.
Well, the other day that red button wasn't there.
Uh-huh. Nice try.
Okay, well, it's 7 o'clock and I think people have been getting on. So let's give the people another minute or two and then we will get started. Looks like people are flowing in, so that's good.
And you thought nobody would come.
I didn't think that.
No, we knew people would come.
Well, I know I've been promoting this.
Good. Thank you. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. This is our inaugural association's town hall. One of the things the Horse Council has been really interested in doing is trying to serve our association members better. So we thought this would be a good way to start. Kim, are we recording?
Yes, we are recording and we're also attendance tracking.
Okay, good. Just so everyone knows. First thing I want to say is this is a town hall. So it's not a seminar and it's not a lecture. We are basically just providing the forum and you guys provide the ideas, your concerns, your questions for each other. This is really about developing relationships and sharing information and ideas and resources. So, and we are just trying to facilitate that process. So perhaps we should probably all get started by everybody introducing themselves and saying what organization you're representing, if you're here representing an organization.
Why don't you start, Jane?
I will start. My name is Jane Sigler. I am currently the chair of the Government Relations Committee for the Horse Council. I'm a past president of the Horse Council and a past vice president of the Horse Council. And I'm also a member of a number of associations, equine associations here in Maryland, including PVDA and Trot and probably a couple of others as well.
I'll go next. I'm Kim Egan. I'm a current president of the Maryland Horse Council. And I'm a member of a bunch of stuff as well. I hope I help Jane with the Government Relations Committee, and I chair the Sport Horse Committee.
Corinne?
Yep. So I'm president with Kim, the Maryland Horse Council, and also on, member of a bunch of other associations, and I am chair of the membership committee.
Okay, so I don't know a very good way to do this otherwise unless somebody else does. So why don't people just pipe up and we'll try to shout each other down.
We can go by
Keep
the
going.
individual list in the list. There's,
Okay, do you want to call names then? Do you have the list
I
in
love
front of you?
calling names. First on our list is Ann Luke.
Hi there, Eastern Shore, beautiful out, gonna be 60 tomorrow. Everything's good.
Becky Remsburg, we know who you are, but not everybody does.
I'm Becky Remsburg. I'm here representing the Maryland Horse Breeders in the Maryland Million.
Claire Lacey.
Claire Lacey, yes, I'm here representing My Ladies Manor Driving Club.
Corinne, we just heard from. Darlene. Darlene, you're on mute. Carroll County Equestrian Center / Council. Well, when Darlene gets off mute, she can say a few words. Debbie Price.
I am here on behalf of EPIC, the trail organization, and also Seneca Valley Pony Club.
Great. Elizabeth Humphreys.
Yeah, I'm here representing for OPRC Horse Harmony, and I'm Southern Marylander.
Jane Del Bianco.
Hi, everybody. I'm the equine facility designer for Core View Building Group, and I also served for 7 years as president, vice president of Bucks County, Penn State Extension, Bucks County, and our board. And we had over 9,000 4-H'ers in our county, and I was in charge of grazing.
She's a Marylander at heart.
Yes.
Jeff Newman.
Hello, yes, Jeff Newman representing Maryland 5-star at Fair Hill.
Maryland is 5-star. Karen Bolton, you're on mute in case you didn't know.
Nope, I am here. I'm here with my husband, Stephen. We're representing Full Moon Farm, the Maryland Horse Industry Board, being the licensed table rep for the last few years, and also as a representative to the Maryland Vet Advisory Board, Maryland Combined Training Association, and whatever else.
I'm with her.
You're not even next on the list, even. Katie Haas, I hope I'm pronouncing your last name right.
Yeah, close enough. I am the ticketing and hospitality manager at the Maryland 5-star, and I'm here with Jeff Newman.
Oh. I don't think we've met. Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Laura Pearson.
Hello, I am the current Maryland Horse Show Association president. And I also manage special events for the Washington International Horse Show that just returned to Maryland with our 5-star show jumping.
Terrific. Laura Lane-Umsworth.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I'm the secretary of the Maryland Horse Council and just really thrilled to see so many of you here this evening. Thanks for turning out.
Marge Schultz.
Hi, I represent the Maryland Western Horse Association and the horse shows at the Howard County Fair.
Super. Mary Sue McCarthy.
Yes, hi. I rejoined the Maryland Horse Council very recently and thought it would be interesting to be on the committee that works with the Equine Services nonprofit. I'm an equine equine assisted psychotherapist, and there is a committee, I believe, that is looking to build this kind of work out, and I'm not sure what the chairman is, but I am just here tonight to kind of get the lay of the land.
Well, welcome. We have somebody
Thanks.
from Misty Manor on.
Yes, Gina's here.
You want to tell us a little bit about yourself? Because I don't think everybody knows you.
I
my wife Nikki and I own Misty Manor, and we do Misty Manor does trail ride, lessons, and camp. And I am learning more than I'm doing anything else.
Great. Nancy Jones.
Hey there. I'm here with Senate Valley Pony Club, and in particular, our horse trials.
Neil, our very own Neil.
Hello, I am former president of the Maryland Horse Council. I think I'm also vice president, just as Jane mentioned that. I am also on the board of the Retired Racehorse Project and a delegate for the United States Polo Association. And I love this. This is so great. I cannot believe that we haven't thought about doing this sooner. But thank you, Jane. Thank you for Jane for coming up with this great idea.
Paige Etzler.
Yes, hi, I'm Paige Etzler. I'm the owner of Good Intentions Farm in Keymar, Maryland. We're a horse discovery center and we're representing the draft breeds. We breed Clydesdales.
Pat G.
Hey, I'm Pat Kaczynski. I'm here representing YMCA Antaqua. We're a non-for-profit camp on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, and one of our programs here is an equestrian program.
Terrific. Chan.
Hello, I'm here with Maryland Horse Council. I'm the voice of Saddle Cats on the Maryland Horse Council podcast, and I'm here to see what everybody's doing and provide what I can.
And troll for interviewees, I'm sure.
Exactly. I'm a troll always.
Ray Parker.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, my name is Ray Barker. I have a Western riding program. We call ourselves the Educated Horsemen. We're over in PG County. My goals for connecting with all kind of associations is to bring more Western type classes to PG County. I'm targeting Showplace Arena. I just believe that there needs to be more Western type events there. I'm in the process of joining various groups. So far, I'm on the horse committee, the Western Horse Committee with Maryland Horse Council. I've joined the Rosaryville Conservatory over at Rosaryville Park. And I've also, I'm talking to the folk over at Trot, because Rosaryville is a beautiful park that needs more attention by equestrians to reestablish the trails and get a bunch of things going on over there, because it's a great park.
Absolutely. Ross.
Hi, Ross Petticord with Maryland Horse Industry Board.
The shortest sentence Ross has ever said. Seth Johnson.
Hi there, Seth Johnson, new to the council, and also thanks to Corinne for getting me onto the membership committee. I'm just here to meet everyone and learn.
Welcome. Stephen Fulton, did you really just want to hide behind your wife, or do you want to say something about yourself?
That's always easy thing to do, but I am I'm an event competitor, organizer, announcer, farrier, and just
darn good looking.
And darn good looking. Yes, that goes without saying, I believe. Past member of the board a long time ago on the Horse Council, and interested in doing more and being more involved.
Great. And last but not least, Vicki Carson. Just joined. If you haven't taken yourself off mute, you need to do that. I mean, you just joined the call. Victoria Carson, Vic Carson. Okay. Well, when we had one more person calling, Katie Clank. Let's wait for her, and then it's 7:15, Jane, so then I guess we go ahead and start. Katie Clank, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Great. We just finished introducing ourselves and you clicked in. So do you want to introduce yourself? I'm Kim, one of the presidents of the Horse Council.
Sure. Hold on. I was not prepared to do this. We'll join with video. My name is Katie Plank. I am a, what are we supposed to say?
Whatever you want us to know about.
Okay, so I did a lot of fox hunting with elk ridge a while back for Bob Kinsley, and I've just recently gotten out of it in the last couple of years to start into real estate. So I'm about 5 years into real estate now. Really enjoy doing farm and land in the Carroll County, Baltimore County, Harford County, and also in Pennsylvania. So that's kind of where I am, wanting to get into all the horsey stuff. So.
Okay, I've performed my ceremonial role. Jen is in charge of the rest of today, so I'm going to put myself on mute. Thank you all for coming.
Okay, well, when we thought up this idea and sent around the notices about it, we wanted to focus on the fact that there are, I think, something like 200 member associations in Maryland that have something to do with horses. And although they're all probably quite different in terms of size and funding and mission and governance, they all, I think, have at least one thing in common, which is wanting to build some kind of a community. And so we thought it would be a good idea to have people get together and talk about what your goals are, what your problems are, what your big challenges are. And I'm gonna throw out some sort of general areas that I think that member associations can have issues with. And I'm going to hope that somebody's going to want to chime in and talk about either how you handle that or what your problems are or anything else you would like to say. So, or if I've left out something. And those general topics that I thought would be useful to talk about are communications. How do you communicate with your group? Do you do mailed newsletters? Do you do emailed newsletters? How often? And then another area is membership. Do you have as many members as you would like to have? What are your strategies for getting members? What is your membership structure? Adult, family, youth, lifetime, automatic renewal? Do you have a requirement for some benefit, or do you have a requirement for membership? Any kind of requiring qualification, or that do you require membership for some kind of a benefit? For example, PVDA used to, I think they're not doing it anymore, but they used to require that someone be a member of PVDA in order to compete at a schooling show. And what about member benefits? Do you have discounts, or have you gotten vendors to give discounts to your members? Third big issue, volunteers. If you use them, how do you get them? How do you reward them? How do you keep them? Fourth topic, fundraising. What's the main source of your operating funds? Dues, grants, competitions and events, something else. And finally, governance. How are you structured? Do you have officers? Do you have a board? Do you have a working board or just an advisory board? Do you have paid staff? Do you think your governing structure is working well? So I'm throwing all that out there. Does somebody have a topic they would like to say something about?
Mary Sue,
No?
is that you?
Huh?
I thought you took yourself on mute because you wanted to speak.
Oh no! Sorry, I was eating watermelon.
I'm interested in how people communicate and what they find works and what they don't find with their members.
I do have a question though, Jane. Are we talking about a mixture of here tonight of nonprofits versus for-profit?
Well, actually,
So I'm a little confused because the operational stances is so very different, as you well
well,
know.
that's true. I mean, I think that we initially conceived this idea as being a town hall for associations who have memberships. But we put the invitation out there publicly, and so anybody is welcome to hop on, even if they just want to listen and
Sure.
learn, whatever. So I think we have a mixture of people on the call, and I think that's just fine, because somebody might actually have a great idea just in general and not necessarily be a member of a particular association. So
Yeah, I think it's fine too. I was just, you know, just trying to get my arms around the scene here. That's all.
So I guess I'll throw out, I'm just curious, how many of these organizations are nonprofit? It seems to me that most are, but which may not be.
Which they don't have to be. Our definition of an association, the Horse Council definition for purposes of our membership categories, doesn't say profit or nonprofit. It just says a membership organization.
Okay, I was just curious.
And
Okay.
that makes a huge difference in terms of volunteers and where you were talking before about member benefits. It used to be that we could, as the Pony Club, in order to be in good standing, we could require that families volunteer a certain amount of time. We are no longer allowed to do that because of an IRS ruling that it would take away our nonprofit status. So that makes a huge difference for us.
Can you explain that? Asking people to do something is jeopardizing?
Well, it wasn't an ask, it was a requirement. If your kid wanted to go to USPC Nationals Championships, you had to be a member in good standing. In order to do that, you had to volunteer a certain number of hours. Otherwise, you would be considered not in good standing.
And we're no longer allowed to do that.
Yeah.
On behalf of Senate, which Nancy and I work together with. So,
Yeah. So
That's remarkable.
it really hurts.
I mean, I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
I've been doing nonprofit corporate governance for a lot of my career, and I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
You've
you-
never heard of
do you have a copy of the IRS ruling or determination
I don't,
letter?
but I could probably track it down. It came out of a Supreme Court case having to deal with, you can't require work for membership benefits for a nonprofit.
Wow, I've never heard of that either. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Claire Lacey has her hand raised.
Yeah, just for interest, maybe we could have everybody raise their hand that is a nonprofit or not for profit, just to give you an idea.
Kim, can you read those off?
Well, some people are like literally raising their hands.
There's a button to click on the bottom.
Yeah.
Click on a little
Got
icon
it.
of a hand on the bottom.
I can't quite see everybody. You gotta I would say 9 to 10 people.
So Maryland Horse Council is a nonprofit, but we don't act as a nonprofit with the equity, right?
But
So and there are also different types of nonprofits, because some you can do tax deductible things for, but some you can't, right?
Yeah, there's 501c3s, which are the typical charity that we all think of, which I'm guessing is what most people are. And we're the Horse Council is a 501c6, which is a trade association, we're exempt from income tax, but we're allowed to lobby.
Yeah, I was just having people just raise their hands as sort of a general, guidance as to what people are doing that may affect the discussion. So everybody that
about
answers
8
that
to 10,
can take their hands down.
unless you want to speak. So Claire, you have your hand up. Is that because you want to speak? All right. Go ahead, Jane.
Okay, so did we get an answer to we didn't get an answer to your question, Kim, did we really, about
No, No, I think I got a little bit interrupted. My question was, how do people, what do people find is the best way to communicate with your members?
In terms of email or social media, or
Do you communicate with your members?
So I'll tell you, for MHSA, we do some we do a newsletter every so often. If we have something that we want to get out to the members, we will send newsletters out. I find that social media is a great way to engage. Instagram and Facebook posting can really reach a lot of people, and I think that's a great way to get the word out. And then also we'll do some e-blasts here and there. And I think that's the basic form of communication these days. I know that for our annual meeting, COVID changed a lot of things, and we used to have an in-person annual meeting, but now we do that via Zoom, which hopefully will get more attendance, because it was hard to get people to come to a physical location before our banquet to sit in on a meeting. So I think anything, we're currently trying to do more educational, maybe not really webinars, but some workshops that we do either in person or via Zoom to hopefully engage more membership. And I'm hoping that if we have them for members and offer it a fee for non-members, or auditors, or if you join MHSA, you can take part. So I think being a member, but the communication, basically, I find social media really helps.
Okay, thank you. Elizabeth Humphreys, Claire Lacey, and somebody else has a hand raised. Elizabeth, why don't you go, and then Claire, and then the third person who's,
So, I've been a part of multiple organizations in Southern Maryland area, at least for the past 10 years. And so what I've found communications wise, internally to the organization, email kind of key. So there's a lot of people don't do anything else, and we have a much older generation that doesn't. But I also found that going to a specific website for the organization is also key. Not only does it reach out, but it reaches in. And so I usually do those for the ones that I'm involved in. I also teach it, but that's beside the point. We also try to do events in the area where we can do a bigger advertisement for, so that awareness that we're actually there. Like, for instance, we've got one coming up this year that's in April. We're going to do a big tactile / flea market, and putting a twist on it, and then using all of our networks to push it up there. So that way, not only do they know that the writing club is there, but so is the church that we're using it at. So that's trying to do what we can to benefit our community. And that's kind of what I do, is I try to do everything I can to benefit the horse community in the area. But yeah, our communication is really about first stage email, but that's only internal. And then I do as much social media as I can stand, and I make sure that the website is up to date. So
I will add that the website being up to date, I think, is key, because I know that
absolutely
the amount of times that I go in and search, and if you see some outdated information on there, it's frustrating. So I think that's key, keeping that present.
Well, people don't know it's there if it doesn't show up in something, and the first thing to do is Google it. So then what? So.
Okay, there were comments. Does anybody use internal communication? Like, I think the comment disappeared, but I think it's a Slack. But then Corinne and then Jane El Bianco had raised hands. So Corinne.
Yeah, my question was, I guess, in hearing people speak, whether anyone does a different marketing campaign in terms of their communication, depending on the audience, i.e. the age of the audience, younger kids versus older, and print ads versus social media. And also perhaps in terms of, I don't know if it's geography, because, for example, I've hit a lot of people in Western Maryland that aren't on social media as much as other areas. So just wondered if anyone did any type of, I don't know, call it awareness, or to have different efforts depending on what you're trying to hit and where you're trying to hit. Or, does that make sense?
Well, I personally hit different on Instagram than I do on Facebook because it's two different audiences.
So do you do that automatically for every campaign, or do you pick and choose the campaign, or you just hope to get as
Well,
many
yeah,
people?
I mean, some it depends on, like, for instance, if it's a Mother's Day ride, it's probably going to be a general basis thing because that's hitting the family. And if it's something more to where I'm trying to get the kids more involved, I'm going to hit it harder on Instagram than I will be on Facebook. So, because we know where our audiences are.
And I mean, you use boosting. You used all those kinds of tools, right, to target, right? Okay, you don't.
The ones that matter, yes, absolutely.
Right.
Because it's not that expensive to boost.
No, but I mean, it does target. You can have it select. So,
Yes.
because I do think that there's some information overload at some point, and people just get on a deaf to
You gotta
it.
get
So,
past the scroll.
right. So if you can be more targeted, yeah, at least it might, that way, if, that folks
Yeah.
actually see what's of interest to
And
them.
it's not that hard, y'all. I mean, anybody can use Canva. That's where it's at. Not everybody has to. I'm saying it's an easy tool that anybody can use.
Horse Council uses it. Yay.
It's a really
Jane
great
Del
tool.
Bianco, did you?
I was
wanna say
going to
something?
say the same thing Elizabeth said, that Canva is a great tool. Depending on the age group, if you're trying to get people to a virtual meeting like this or in person, text reminders I think are great. They really do help tremendously.
So by text reminders, do you mean you send out, you have some way of sending out a kind of broadcast text?
Well, I set it up so I'm texting people individually, so you're not getting a group text of 40 numbers, try and keep everybody's numbers private. But you can send the same text over and over and over with the link to the virtual meeting or the address for where the actual event is, like a show. So then they can just touch the address and go right onto their Google Maps or whatever map platform they want to use. And of course, you're never texting with kids without texting parents.
Yeah, yes, that's right. Seth, you had said something in the chat. Why don't you say it to the group?
All I was saying was at least I found great success in networking and finding out a ton of information throughout all of the different Facebook groups that are established. And some groups have enabled an ability for the administrators of those groups to at all members or tag all members, where it'll send a push notification to every member in the group versus that person having to stumble upon the post. So they'll get a direct notification in that group for whatever the content of the post is, and it increases likelihood of them seeing that post.
Seth, that's a great point. And another thing that I've had great success with is if you do Facebook advertising with a geographical radius. So if you're doing a 20-mile radius or a 10-mile radius, whatever you'd like to do, and then also you can tag interests. So you can tag different equestrian interests or, crossover that you think would apply to your event.
Okay, I just want to point out that people have been putting some ideas in the chat, and I'm not going to read them, but I would recommend that people go and look at the chat and see what the specific ideas are. Mary Sue?
Actually, if you don't mind, Jane, I would encourage people to bring them up orally too, because we've got some people on the phone, and that way it's also recorded in a recording. I'm not sure that.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's a very good point. Mary Sue, and then Neil.
Yeah. Speaking of, I think what works well, when I got an announcement of this, it was from Maryland Horse Council's magazine and online newsletter. And then on Facebook, I clicked interested going. And what I thought worked really well that the council is doing is I would keep getting reminders that this event, is coming up. This is something you're interested in. And I got another one right before. And I think that's a very successful strategy to build interest and attendance.
And that's something that Facebook will do for you automatically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Up on
very
that.
helpful. If you click going, if I hadn't and just, put it in my calendar, but it was very helpful.
Right. That the only way that works is if you put it in as an event, and but groups apparently, I don't know why. Don't ask me these questions, but groups don't have events anymore. You have to use a page for that.
They want to get one on just for some reason.
Neil, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I've got like three different things I say. So to Mary Sue's point, one thing we've done in the past, but we didn't do on this, is actually do advertising, which also can help sort of target if we're doing geographies. When we used to do in-person meetings, we always used to do a Facebook ad for our quarterly meetings around wherever they were going to be, which always worked out well. Someone asked about what tools we use. At the Horse Council, we use a tool called Basecamp, and there are several other associations I work with that use Slack. So they can be, it depends on how many kind of dedicated volunteers you have who are working on projects, I think, whether that becomes worthwhile. And then my final question, and maybe Katie Klenk will come on, but I haven't heard of, is Hit Them Up an actual app?
Yeah, it's an app that you can type in a message and then select everybody in your contacts to send it to, and it will send it out as a single message to every person that you contact in that you select in that.
Is that something you can only use from your phone, or can you use it from like a CRM?
It is strictly from my phone that I know of right now.
Okay.
I wonder if, as an association, if we need to get people to opt in order to be able to do that, because I know that's.
I think both, because we'd also have to get people to give us their phone numbers.
Right.
Yeah, you definitely have their phone number. I don't think you have to have them opt in because it would be a contact in your phone already. It can't be just a phone number that you add. It has to be a contact.
Yeah.
Jeff Newman?
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. I'm trying to see if our event is reaching the horse community. So I was hoping I could take a little liberty here to take a quick poll. I think there's about 24 people on this call. Is there anybody on this call that has not heard of the Maryland 5-Star at Fair Hill? And if you haven't, hit your little raise your hand button.
Well, that's a good sign.
I don't see any hands.
That is a good sign.
Great sign.
So my second question to poll the group is, how many people on this call have not attended the Maryland 5-Star?
All right. Shame.
How many we got?
Y'all are missing out.
10 hands raised.
Jane, 10 hands raised. So clearly we're reaching you and you're hearing about it, but somehow you're not wanting to come out. Or I'm just curious to know what it would take to get everybody out. Because in order to be successful, we have to first get the horse community to come out in the highest percentage possible. So I used to run tennis, as maybe a lot of people know. Our philosophy was, if you have a racket in your hand at any point in the year, you're coming out to see my tennis tournament. And right now I got 10 people out of 24, almost half, that haven't attended that are in the horse community and passionate about the horse community. So both Jane from Quarry View, we're both trying to obviously get more people out to the event. Jane's a great sponsor of the event. And, attendance is going to be critical if we're going to continue to have, one of the best 5 stars out there. So we think operationally, we have a good handle on how to best run the event now, which is our focus from a competitor standpoint operationally. But now, clearly, we want to focus on getting attendance figures up. So, not that I'm asking it for everybody to respond, but that's generally why Katie's on the call, as well as our ticket and hospitality manager, is what can we do to get the 10 of you out to the Maryland 5-star? Because if the event's successful, I think it's all going to trickle down to making all of us successful. So, anyway.
I think you should ask the EPI area to do a survey for you and find out.
So Jeff, I think the issue is the same issue that we're all facing. I mean, we have 100,000 horses in Maryland, and I think it's a combination of too many other things going on, too busy. I mean, we'd all love to do these things. There were already a couple of posts for your event that there were other things going on, and there were always going to be other things. So my goal is not, or my thought is not to, yes, we've got the 25 people on the line here, but those people already know about it, so we're probably going to come if they can. I think the challenge most of us have is that outer audience that we want to get to know us, so that if they are available, they can come in. It's kind of like almost kind of getting a bigger end to your funnel. You want more people coming in that funnel so that you can have more people end up coming to the event.
And I think another thing that might help too, I know for me, the dates are during the Washington Regional Show and right before our Washington big 5-star event. So that's why I, am not able to attend. But the other thing to do is to do some ad trades with other big events, like with Washington, we trade some advertising that helps each other out too for big events in Maryland. So that's another thing that I think really helps if different events help promote events on other weeks, on other dates.
And so,
well, Ross can help comment on this, but that's the essence of Maryland Horse Month. Is an initiative and led by basically hopefully all the councils and agencies on this call to promote to the entire horse industry that Maryland is Horse Month. And then within Horse Month is the following: Maryland Million, Washington Horse Show, Maryland 5-star, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what the essence is, because there's only so much we all can do at our individual events, but that's right. What the whole purpose of celebrating that month is. So I would just sort of encourage that everybody on this call kind of embraces that and helps promote Maryland Horse Month and what's in it. And that obviously, how's that going to trickle down to the rest of you? It trickle down because our events are platforms to help promote the horse industry. And so if there's anything we can do at the event to showcase, display, list, announce, key organizations within Maryland, how you can participate in the horse industry, that's what we are supposed to do. But at first, it's supposed to create this awareness of what's going on in Maryland that no other state really has. So anyway, I just think we should all figure out how to continue to embrace that, because that's what it's for. So at any rate, hopefully we can get you all out here.
Jeff, let me take on that one. I'm sorry to jump in here. It's Ryan from the podcast. I had the opportunity to sit in as a graduate from Indiana University Bloomington, a similar conversation about women's basketball. There's lots of Big Ten groups that have women's basketball, and how are they going to promote that? And what they decided to do, and has actually been relatively successful in getting the word out there, is to cross-market and use their different silos. So if each team is a different silo, they are looking for the people to travel. If they are a fan, they might be a fan of the Indiana Hoosiers, but they might not be a fan of the Huskers. How do you unite those? And when they had it just in March, the month of the horse, or the month of the playoffs, they had less success, except when they had more success when they used that across each game, much like Laura was saying, cross-promoting and cross-advertising, because you already have a captured audience.
Oh
Hey,
yeah, no, I'm not saying we
sounds
can't
good
do
ideas,
that.
but there have been people patiently waiting with their hands up, and so I want to try to take a little control back here. And I know I'm glad to see that people are getting enthused and wanting to jump in and having their thoughts. But if you could just make a note and raise your hand so we can be fair to the people that have been patiently raising their hand. And Lila Hertzberg.
I'm sorry, I don't think I meant to raise my hand, but I was just going to say, some of us, I'm running a nonprofit, I'm running a lesson program. So the thing is, if we personally can't come, we can try to send people. So that's what we've done in the past. We've had some of our people go as volunteers. Some students just came and were overwhelmed and excited about all the jumping. But, so we can promote it within our business. It just doesn't mean that we, the trainer, can always come to the event. That's all I was going to say.
Well, that's a good
Got
point.
it.
That is a
Thank
good
you.
point, because I think, with any of these things, the trickle down effect that Jeff was talking about that's really the essence of it. And that one of the problems that Maryland has had historically, which I think is getting somewhat better, is that, we have so many we have like 40 different breeds and disciplines or whatever. But they've historically been somewhat siloed. And so the dressage people just stick with the dressage people and do their dressage stuff. And the hunter jumper people stick with the hunter jumper people and do their stuff. And if we're really going to get the full benefit of Maryland Horse Month and of the fact that Maryland is probably the top horse state in the country, if you talk about numbers of horses, horse density, we need to start thinking of ourselves as more united and less as discrete, disparate little groups that just kind of function on their own. Mary Sue and then Jane Del Bianco.
Carol Ann's also had her hand up for a while.
Yeah, she did, but now doesn't seem to be there. But Karen, why don't you jump in if you wanted to say something?
No, I was raising my hand for I haven't attended a 5-star, but as a trail rider, I'm gonna be dead honest. I would only go because of the Maryland Horse Council. It's not something that would kind of intrigue me because I'm trail riding and camping with my horse.
Carol Ann, since you were a little late jumping on the call, why don't we all introduce ourselves? Why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm sorry. I was tutoring, so I couldn't get on the call until I was done. My name is Carol Ann Sharp. I am on the board of directors for Maryland Horse Council as well as the executive board. I'm the chairperson for our Trails Stewardship Committee, and I am also president of Trail Riders Today. Been trail riding for about 18, 19 years now. So my mission is very similar to everything we just said in uniting different parts of the horse world under one umbrella called the Maryland Horse Council. So that, what I was being honest about was exactly that. So the trail riders don't feel like they're in their own little world, dressage, adventures, fox hunters. Everybody doesn't feel like they are disconnected.
Okay, thank you. Mary Sue?
Yeah, well, a lot of people have hit on, I think, the theme here. As president of PVDA for 4 years, we struggled and struggled and struggled how to make dressage something that the average person could relate to. And I think that is the trouble with also a name like 5-star. That would be like me talking about an FEI, CDI, 4-star in my world. So some name confusion, I think. Also some snobbery, actually, between, well, I don't do that, and dressage rider, well, those eventers don't really know how to ride dressage. So cross promotion, and also, I don't know if it was Ross's organization, but perhaps using the venue in a way to, if we stick together, well, then why not offer a space there that says, okay, all you dressage queens, come, here's going to be your space and here's going to be everybody else's space, but we're all connected in a circle, if you will. But rather than try to get people to move in a way that they don't, allow them to move in the way that they do. And think about some kind of geographical planning, or ask the dressage PVDA to, bring all their members, kind of like the Hunt Cup, individual people all come, but participate in their own tailgates. But the name, yeah, that's a challenge.
Yeah, I don't think Jeff's going to want to change the 5-star name.
Well, it's not that. You just put a signature under that. A subline, or, I mean, you guys know what I mean. You guys are all smart. No, I wouldn't change the name, but, I'd certainly think of a tagline or a photograph or something. You wanted opinions. That's my opinion.
It's all about branding.
That's my
No,
point.
it's a very good one, and it's a challenge that we have as an event, because eventing represents 3 phases, and I've heard that,
I know.
the real show jumpers are not doing eventing, et cetera, et cetera. I just hope at the end of the day that our events, including the Washington National Horse Show, including Maryland Min, it's just a celebration of the horse industry, regardless of the discipline. That's what I hope our event could become, and I hope what Horse Month can become. So it is really difficult to get through that. So somehow I just think it's like what somebody just said, like we just need to unite ourselves and utilize these events that are pretty unique, especially in one period of the year, and it's really just coming together to celebrate the fact that Maryland is the best state in the world, or the country, for the horse industry. But it's easier said than done, and right now our goal, and why I asked the question about when it comes to how do you market your event best, we're still trying to figure out how to best reach the horse industry, and those that are passionate about the horse industry to participate and attend the event, whether price is in the way, whether it's the disciplines in the way, whether it's, all those kinds of things. So I just was trying to do a little informal survey, but, at the end of the day, like I said, we just want to try to help you all in making your organizations better. And I'm just a believer that when people see the professional events at the highest level, it resonates and increased participation that way, as opposed to from grassroots up. But that's just an opinion of an event producer. But at the end of the day, I just respect everything you all are doing. I know there are a lot of challenges, but awareness is going to be critical. And Kentucky, which is getting 80,000 people a year, we're getting 25 right now. So we got a ways to go. And at some point in time, I'd like to see all of our events of 80,000 people and say, we're the best out there. But it takes time, and I just want to do a little informal poll. But, all those are good opinions. And at some point in time, we'd love to see everybody out there.
Hey, Jeff, before you go, I'm going to jump in here, Jane. Apologies. I think we should talk about some of these.
Okay, we do have a number of people waiting to talk, so let's keep it moving. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Jeff, we should talk about some of the ideas people have raised here in a couple months when we sit down about the media partnership, because we could probably incorporate some of them.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, Jane Del Bianco.
I was just going to add that a hammock of social media advertising each other's events, like Laura mentioned, would be great. A shout out to Jeff that I had a client come in from out of state reluctantly to Maryland 5-star, and he got in and he said, wow, this beats trying. I never thought Maryland could pull it off. So I think we really have to get the word out. And I was wondering, and you all may have done this, and with me being a sponsor, I was in different areas, but maybe a meet and greet breakfast for members of the Maryland Horse Council, that people could get a chance to meet different people, and that could be an advertised event on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning at the Maryland 5-star. And Jeff, maybe you could provide an area for that meeting to happen.
Yep, sounds good. Ross, you're here to help.
Sounds good. Paige Etzler.
Yes, I just wanted to mention, coming from the draft world and also trail riding, I'm fascinated about all the different aspects, but I'm not comfortable with it. So if I was to go to 5-star, if I was to go to event, I would want to know what's expected of me, what is the dress, what am I watching, and so I think there's a tremendous opportunity to educate those in silos so that they can be able to cross over, because I don't know what I don't know, but I'm more than willing to research and expand on that. But it's not comfortable. And I think I stay in my realm where it's comfortable.
Yeah, that's a good point. Kim, let's figure out how we can cut through that.
Yep, it is a good point. Somebody else had their hand up, but now it's disappeared. Who was that?
Debbie Price.
Debbie Price.
You had your hand.
Yeah, Debbie Price.
Yeah, I was just wondering how, with being with a pony club organization, how we can help incorporate our younger members or the youth to join organizations and get involved, because that's been a struggle. And whether it's with the discounts maybe for the 5-star, but bringing up the younger members to be involved with the horse industry, is there an avenue? And again, it's passionate for myself and obviously the Fultons and any other pony club organization, but that's our future, is bringing kids along. Any suggestions with help with that?
Neil, did you want to address that question?
Yes. We've had a frustrating time over the last 6 or 7 years that I've been involved with the Horse Council with that. I mean, we had a kids membership, which is, almost a free membership from our point of view. And it's just so hard to get, I guess, the attention. I guess it's like the bigger problem of getting members in general. Even with like the equity, we've had some kids do articles on the membership committee. Well, I was going to ask you to clarify whether you're talking like kids still in school or you're talking young adults. I mean, as much as anything, we want young adults involved, and we've got a young lady on the membership committee who's a student at Garrison Forest who's kind of helping us make sure we don't miss on that part of it. But it is a tough one to do, and I'd certainly love to hear some thoughts and ideas on that.
Yeah, no, I'd say from our end of it, it's all of the above. It's the youth and it's the young adults. I mean, Pony Club now includes adults, but it's, especially our future is with the kids that are coming along the pipeline that are interested in whether it's eventing or trail riding or dressage or anything. But how do we support that youth program? Because as Nancy said earlier with the Pony Club, it's and Karen, and I don't know, Karen, see you're still on here, but bringing kids along is our future, and that's been harder to engage them and have them interested or financially for them to be able to afford it. So any suggestions?
One thing, it's a matter of sort of not information overload, but I've been involved with the 5-star since before there was a 5-star, and I didn't know something Jeff just posted is that kids under 10 get in free. So that's a really good thing to make sure is publicized.
I did not know that. You're saying that kids can get in free?
That's what Jeff just posted in the chat.
All GA tickets, 10 and under, get in free.
Well,
and last year they offered a discount to us for our members. So
I knew there was a discount, but I didn't know they could get in free. So maybe that's
okay. Jane Del Bianco, Katie Clank, and one other person.
I was just going to mention that a lot of middle schools and high schools ask for students to get community service credit hours. A lot of the high schools around here, it's 60 hours a year. And, getting a kid in a barn and helping to work around the barn is a way to get them hooked. And a lot of parents will drive their kids to barns if they know that they're going to get community service credit hours. So that's something you might want to check in with your local middle schools or high schools, and the kids are interested in that.
Can you do that if you're not a nonprofit? I thought that was.
Yes.
That is? Okay, great.
Mhm.
You do have to have someone trained on that, right?
Well,
Right.
that's something that I think that a lot of organizations and associations might have some volunteer work that they could get kids to do their community service hours. Katie Clank?
I think in regards to getting kids involved in more opportunities, I think we need to look a little bit more into the positions and like the different barns. So if the barn trainer, whoever was there, or the person competing would offer weekend internships for one student and then hand it to the pony club, let them decide, or something like that, as well as the 5-star situation. So you have people in each position. Why don't you pair a kid with each of those positions so they can follow along and learn how to do it? I know we used to do it at all the horse shows. So the gate crew, the person announcing everything, the judge, everybody had a kid attached to them at the hip so the kid could start learning, or the student could start learning those positions. And that was a good way for the kids to figure out what they like to do and have more opportunities, because somebody's more willing to give a weekend internship for the specific weekend than they are for like a whole summer. And it allows them to dabble into different things before they choose where they want to go.
That's a great idea. Laura McPherson.
This is probably becoming more about Washington than MHSA, but I know for Washington, a couple ways that we try to bring in different disciplines, different groups, kids of all ages. You know, we have a kids day that we offer for free where we try to have as many different examples or grooming stations, different breeds, pony rides, things like that, to bringing people as close to horses and giving them the opportunity to be around the horses. And then we also have barn night, where we have pony clubs and 4-H groups and eventers and dressage barns. We get a whole diversity of different disciplines, which is really great. And is Ray Parker still on the call? Is he?
Yeah, yes.
So you might be, so this year, you're talking about engaging more Western. I think this year our theme for barn night's going to be Western. So you'll be pleased to hear that.
Well,
Think of different ways to get as many disciplines and kids in there. And that really, those events, different events like that really help.
It's funny that you mentioned that. We have an upcoming Western Dressage Clinic with Annie Trice on March 25th over in PG County at Glenwood Farms. And what our goal is, and this comment goes to Jane, and it also goes to Murray Sue. I know that PVDA has a Western dressage component at some of their events. So what we were interested in doing is to expand on that. And then I heard someone mention cross promotion. What our goal is to bring in a musical freestyle competition, all breed. So it doesn't matter whether you are English or Western. It's a competition that we hope to build up, that one day we can get Laura to let us do a Western musical freestyle at the Washington International.
Yeah. Be great.
That would be.
You're on mute, Jane.
Sorry, Carol Ann, you want?
I'm being myself. 2 items, just a correction really fast, being a school teacher. The community hours require 72 hours for your entire school career, not 60 hours a year. And I do utilize kids from their middle schools and high schools in many capacities. So you're on the right track with giving them community hours. I typed this in the chat as well. And I kind of want to speak to my own insecurities as well as what Paige said. Perhaps there could be a 5-star 101 booth, somebody who, if I were to attend this event, I could shadow, I could be mentored, I could have a docent with me for a period of the day, or even a booth just so I could ask questions. Like Paige said, I don't even know what I'm seeing, and I'm not someone who likes to not know what I'm looking at. So perhaps that we could have something to that nature, like an educational opportunity to shadow someone or have them be a docent to share with us what's going on. And that would probably be something I would suggest, and that would be something I could definitely share in many different capacities within the discipline of trail riding.
It's all good stuff.
Okay, Katie, Clint, did you still want your hand up? You haven't, or was it you just didn't take it down after the last time?
Nope, sorry.
Okay. Debbie Price, Neil, Mary Sue. Debbie.
I had mine
Okay, Neil.
answered, so I'm good.
Okay. Neil.
I was just going to do two examples from Polo that probably before Laura's time, but probably 15 years ago when the Washington International was out, I think in Landover before it even moved downtown. We did a polo exhibit just on one night. And I have two of my very good friends who saw polo for the first time then, came out, watched it, and got into it. So I would strongly encourage Ray to follow up on that type of thing. And then the other thing is to the if you look at probably any polo club around the country's website or program, there is something about kind of how do you spectate at polo? I mean, what do you dress as? What do you do? What's the protocol? And I think that's probably a good idea for probably for any horse event for non-horse people, but certainly for 5-star, if you don't already do it. And I feel like I've seen that recently, so maybe you are already doing it, or.
Yeah, the Preakness does that, and maybe the Kentucky Derby, they have what to wear, what to expect.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, that could certainly be in the equerry as well. Corinne, did you want to say, I think we've gotten a little bit off the association's track here, but Corinne.
Well, I wanted to get back. So I saw it twice in the chat that in Montgomery County, you have to be a nonprofit to give SSL hours. But what I also wanted to say is, I don't know that we can entirely run an event with minors. So at some point we do need adult volunteers. And I wanted to see, and I know PVDA just canceled an event or is canceling an event, for lack of volunteers. So I do think SSL hours are a great way to get kids involved and get the next generation going. I don't want to diminish that, but we still need adults. How do we get the adults involved? How do we get the adults, especially sometimes they're horse show moms and not even the people that actually do, you know what I mean? If they're not, or the spouse or the whatever. So I know we're kind of at time, but I think volunteers are a major crisis in the industry. Adult volunteers. Any thoughts?
Well, volunteers is another whole big topic, which I don't know if we're going to get to tonight since it's after 8 o'clock already. But Reshan, did you had your hand up, and then Nancy Jones, and then Neil.
2 points. One, to follow along with Corinne. The largest growing portion of horse riders are women trail riders over 50. And I was 45 when I got back into trail riding, and it had not been for Jackie Cowan coming along and going, yes, you can do this. This is how you go. These are where the trails are. This is how you navigate a trail. We're not serving that population who has disposable income when their children are in college. And if they're empty nesters, they may have volunteer time. So how do we take someone who may have time, money, and access and bring them into these organizations when we often think of bringing kids into the organization going forward? Because those parents, those 50-year-olds will have grandkids. While the parents are working, the grandparent-grandkid connection would come together. The second thing, in a lot of the interviews I've run, probably in the past 2 years, I've been getting a lot of feedback that says horseback riding is a really dangerous sport. My kids aren't playing football because of head injuries. They're not doing dirt biking because of head injuries. They're not doing horseback riding because of head injuries. As associations, are we promoting the benefits, the therapeutic riding, the balance, the responsibility, as opposed to keep your kids safe, don't get a concussion?
Good point. Nancy Jones.
Yeah, I was just going to talk in response to the PVDA question about volunteers, or Corrine, I guess. For our horse trials, we need like between 80 and 100 volunteers a day. And if we did not have a group set up called eventingvolunteers.com, we couldn't run, because we don't have the membership to run it all. And we get people in from Pennsylvania and Virginia. And, you know, USEA, which of course is the governing association for horse trials, offers yearly recognition of volunteers. For our volunteers, we give them a free schooling pass, that they can come out to one of our schooling days. But that, honestly, if we didn't have eventingvolunteers.com, we'd really be up the creek. So I don't know if, you know, if there's a statewide kind of dressage association, or even, you know, USDF, if they would run a national level volunteer sign up process. Just an idea.
It's a good idea. Neil, your hand is still up. Did you have something where you want?
Yes, I wanted to ask a question about actually Carolyn McIntosh's program, which sounds similar, if not the same program, and how well that is. But I was also conscious of time and thinking, I think one of the goals of this was to determine if this was a good group to move forward. And I would say by the numbers and the interest it is, and I would suggest that we spend a little bit of time thinking about a specific, like maybe we do the next topic is just volunteers and we have an event on that. And maybe we do one on building membership or that kind of thing. But I know I have to run in about 5 minutes, so I wanted to.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, I think tonight was a good opportunity for us to gauge what people's interests and concerns are. But I think that we probably will do more of these, and probably having them focus on a particular topic would be a good idea. So, well, we have a couple more people that want to make comments, and then I think we probably need to wrap up for the evening. So if you have something you really want to say, raise your hand, and then we'll hear what you have to say, and then I think we'll probably wrap up and plan for the next one. Jane Del Bianco.
I think several of us have got to the point where we want to network with each other. Is there any way that we can have an email list or something that between this and the next session we can be in touch with each other?
Kim, you have the
yeah, we can circulate the attendance sheet to everyone.
What we do a closed Facebook group and get Seth, I think it was, who was talking about those to run that.
I can circulate the attendance sheet, Jane.
Yeah.
That'd be
Google
great.
Meets
Thank
produces
you.
it automatically, so it's just a matter of.
But we could probably also do a closed Facebook group if Seth wants to do that.
Yeah.
Corinne?
I'm happy to take that if I need to.
Well, I was just going to, before everybody hops off, I was just wondering about the frequency. It sounds like we will probably focus on a topic each time, but like how often would folks like to see us back? Are we talking quarterly? Are we talking monthly, so that we can plan a little bit on our end as to what the group in general thinks might make sense?
How often is the trails town halls going?
The trails is monthly.
Oh,
Aaron
okay.
Fulton said every 2 months.
We have a ton of monthly. I mean, just from the horse council's perspective, we have like 4 monthly meetings already for members.
If I did want to share exactly what Neil says, that let's remember that I do have a town hall the first Monday of each month for the Maryland Horse Council. And as Rayanne just said, you know, we have almost we have 1,600 members on one of our trail riding Facebook pages. 600 to 900 interact monthly. So when we're talking about, I'm every description she just said. Over 50, trail riding, empty nester, a lot of time on my hands, except Maryland Horse Council takes a lot of it, which I love you all. So, I mean, I would love for us to be more interactive in sharing things like this so that every discipline hears from us. And I mean, with 1,600 people on one of the pages alone that I admin, we've got people out there to listen to us. But yeah, I would say monthly, because this has been actually opening for me. I always feel a little bit behind the fold with the things you guys talk about that is not trail riding, and I'm still learning. So me personally, I wouldn't want to wait 2 months to hear it again.
What if you said yours for the first Monday? What if we do like the third Monday? Or that may be also interrupting with some other meeting, but.
Yeah, and I think our quarterly is that. I think the
Well, we
third
can
Monday is
figure out
quarterly.
schedule with what we have, and once we have, I guess, hopefully folks can plan around. But I guess it sounds like folks are leaning towards monthly, or and in terms of and keeping it to an hour, so perhaps more frequent but less long. I mean, we're not much over, but just to kind of get a sense for the group's thoughts.
Okay, well, I propose that we look at the calendar and with an eye toward trying to do something in about a month, and then we will get the word out to everybody.
Yeah, and yeah, and Seth will work with I guess I guess you'll figure it out, and we'll try to get up a Facebook group.
Great.
Good. Well, I want to thank everybody for
Thank
taking
you.
the time out of your evening to join us. I think hopefully everybody feels like they got something out of it, and we can proceed and have some more interesting conversations about how we can make our groups better.
Great.
So,
thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks for organizing.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.